Hello, everyone, and welcome to Plugged In with Diane Warren. Today, we are welcoming a very special guest, Alexandra Rosetta from the Ontario Native Literacy Coalition's publishing division, Turtlesback Publishing. This podcast is produced by the team at Good Learning Anywhere. Our theme music is by bensound.com, and we are your hosts, Diane Altinbalek and Warren Butler. Hey, Warren, how are you doing today?
Not bad, Diane. How are you? How was your weekend?
My weekend was great. We finally had a little bit of break in the weird Thunder Bay spring weather that we've been having. We got the kids out to the park for a couple of hours on Saturday. We had play dates now that people are starting to relax a little bit more. So my youngest got to go and see his friend, and we got to meet his parents and hang out, which is great because they're new to Thunder Bay, and it's nice to meet new friends and hear new perspectives. And they're just happy to know people here.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Nice and relaxing.
Yeah. What about you? What were you up to?
Well, I had a fun 4 days of isolation.
Oh, no.
I ended up getting COVID. Hit me pretty good, but anyways, made it through. Just had to isolate for the weekend. We had family visiting, and they had a whole bunch of activities planned and whatnot. But I didn't get to participate in that. But at least today is my last day of isolation, and happy to kind of move around through the house now, which is nice.
Yeah, well, I hope you're feeling better. I'm sorry it hit you so hard, but I don't know. Maybe it's kind of good that you got it over with.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be like a badge of honor. I don't know. Like, I want to do some traveling, so maybe it's better that once you have it, it kind of gives you a bit more freedom. And I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't had it yet, which is really surprising because my husband works out in the public, and I was actually thinking it's like I should go and get a second booster shot because I have no idea where I stand with my immunity to this now that everything's opening up and restrictions are basically gone and all that type of stuff. So I was like, oh, I should probably protect myself even further because I have no idea how it's going to hit me when I do get it.
Yeah, like I don't normally get sick. I couldn't tell you the last time I had a cold. And so maybe it didn't really hit me that hard. Maybe it was a regular cold, but it did feel, I don't know, it just felt a little bit more strenuous than a regular cold.
Like you haven't been sick in so long that you're just a wimp about being sick now.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, you know what? Everyone wanted to kind of cater to me and bring things to me. I was like, okay, I'll take advantage of this.
My gosh, chicken soup and Price is Right. I think that was the cure-all for everything that I caught when I was a kid.
Yeah, I didn't watch The Price is Right while I was isolating. I did watch The Masters though. So that's good.
Oh, yeah. My dad was really into it, and I caught barely any of it this weekend. But I know that Canada made it through the semifinals of curling, and apparently we're going to the gold medal round now.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, there's lots of interesting sports things going on. This is like the best time of year for sports.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun time.
And the Leafs clinched the playoffs, so that's great.
Yep, they're making their way through.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know about you, but I am really, really excited about this guest that we have today. And I know that I say that every single time we record a podcast, but it's true. We just keep on coming across these amazing guests with really, really awesome things to say. And this is one we've been exploring for a little while. This one's been recommended to us a couple of times, and we finally got it together. And without further ado, I would like to introduce Alexandra Rosetta from the Ontario Native Literacy Coalition and Turtlesback Publishing. So hi, Alexandra. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Goetzi, Hopa, Insecu, Maaseko, Tanaki, Pashtichin, El Adisata. Thank you, everyone, for having me on here. My name is Alexandra Rosetta, and my Carison name is Sekui. I'm come from the Pueblo of Santo Domingo, New Mexico, USA. So I'm pretty far away from home.
Oh, wow.
I am the publishing manager for Turtlesback Publishing, a division of the Ontario Native Literacy Coalition, and I've been on the team for, I would say, almost 3 years and some months now.
Wow. What brought you to Canada?
I would have to say the Indigenous publishing.
Awesome.
The opportunity of it. I come from a background of professional writing, and I I worked as an editor and technical writer for an environmental company in New Mexico with a Indigenous women-owned business. And then this opportunity kind of popped up. I know the CEO from high school, and she reached out to me and I guess was keeping track of my successes, I would like to say. And I took advantage of this opportunity. I mean, back in university, I remember wanting to do something in Indigenous publishing, and this has been such an experience. Yeah.
That's incredible. Okay, so tell us a little bit about Turtles Back Publishing and your role there.
Okay, well, first off, just for the listeners that don't know about the Ontario Native Literacy Coalition, they were established in 1988, and they're the Indigenous literacy stream under the Ministry of Labor Training and Skills Development, and they oversee 20 literacy programs throughout Ontario. In 2019, they established Turtles Back Publishing, and that's where I came on board. And what we do is we develop, create resources and curriculum for our adult literacy learners. Now, today, I think we've been kind of, marketing ourselves a little bit more, where we're not just centered on our programs. We do a lot of adult literacy focused books. The curriculum that we've got into language books, language curriculum, and learners. And just recently, we started doing, I think, larger genres. In 2020, we released 2 very large. The first one is called Akojalagoa, My Big Family, written by Brenner Jacobs and Brendan Bomberry. And those ones, that one is more of a sports anthology. It's very huge. The purpose of that was just to kind of show learners what the game brings to people. And it was meant to be a 10-pager, turned into a 459-ish page book.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we've got In Memory of Feast, one of our curriculum writers who's also an educator, and I think she works with Six Nations Polytechnic, Judy Rubin. She's an amazing woman, an amazing writer. She's done a lot of curriculum for us in the past, and she went and interviewed 20 residential school survivors all across Ontario and collected their stories on sustainable food systems and the memories they held before entering residential schools, gathering, preparing foods. And that was kind of like our step into a different genre, I think, those 2 books. And so we're kind of broadening ourselves a little bit more. And then we've mentored under the Association of Canadian Publishers, and that's been a lot of fun. All the publishers are just rooting us on because we're small and we're Indigenous and we're Indigenous focused. And our big thing is we want to stick to our mandate of adult literacy. It's so easy to get back to wanting to publish children's books and different genres, but I think it's very important that we stay focused on providing materials for our learners and for people that are wanting to learn the language as well.
Excellent. So would you say that the goals of Turtles Back Publishing are to mainly just provide materials, or are there like other more abstract goal that we're missing here?
Well, I don't know how to answer that really. I think we want to stay focused on what we can provide to our learners. For example, a lot of preparing for success stories. We're doing an Indigenous trades book. It's like an academic journal for LBS learners. We want to just do things that help ignite our learners. That's kind of our mission. And also keep it indigenized. We've been focusing on, let's see, what's a good example? So I think last year, after the Truth and Reconciliation kind of got looked back at, they invited, I think they allowed some universities to do an Indigenous studies course and do English courses and get a credit for that if they did Indigenous studies. So we're doing something on that, to help interest learners in English and in mathematics and in trades. And I think that's just our focus. I keep saying that, but it's like we want things to help our learners get interested and want to say like, oh, there's this resource that I can go to, and I don't have to stop here. I don't have to get my high school credit. I can go off to university. And I think a lot of learners have done that, and we want to help them, keep helping them. And then there's the whole base of language, reconnecting to their language, learning the basics, and then learn and teaching them that if you learn the language, then you can keep going. You don't just have to stop there. And
That's amazing. Yeah, we at Good Learning Anywhere do our best to take a culture-centered approach to all of our curriculum development as well. So we very, very much appreciate anybody that takes like a culture-focused and a culture-centered approach to providing resources for literacy and basic skills students. So I definitely applaud you for that. By the sounds of some of the titles that you have on the website, it really, really looks like you guys are accomplishing that, what you set out for.
I would hope so. It is a little hard because we do a lot of, we contract for our services. And so finding curriculum writers sometimes is a little hard, especially language people. If anybody's listening and is a Cree language speaker, please contact me. It's just like, I think that's the only roadblock I've been hitting a couple times, is finding people, especially language people. And as a nonprofit, when they hear that, they're like, of course, we'll do it. And you give them our mission, and you give them what our purpose is and why we do what we do. They really come through. And then the outcome of all the curriculums and resources and language books are just beautiful.
So tell us a bit about some of the titles that you have available. Like, you went into a little bit when you were telling us about Turtles Back and how it's evolving and everything, but tell us about some of the other titles.
Okay. Well, I think our first ones are the little our little language books, and they're in series. So we've got the daughter, sister, mother, and wives series. There's the Haudenosaunee readers, and they're all in the 6 nations languages, which is, I want to get this right, Mohawk, Cayuga, Onondaga, Oneida, Seneca, and Tuscarora nations. Then we've included the Wyandot under that. And we've also have an Anishinaabe focus with the North and Central languages, and then a Cree reader. And these ones are just really basic learners. You open it up, you get a welcome prayer, there's a Thanksgiving address, a seed song, and just that. I think there's a song about a baby, a newborn, and and they all come with a CD. So it's just your way of hearing the language for the first time. And the words are in English and in the language in the book itself. And then we've got the learning through the music of our people, and they're focused on the same languages as well. And those introduce 3 different languages. So there's a children's song, a traditional song, and a contemporary song. Like, for example, the Onondaga language book has that song called, I just had it in my head. Jambalaya song, that jambalaya. It's in the Onondaga language, and it's just so beautiful and catchy. And I think the Mohawk one has a rap song, and it's just like, you can just hear the language and learn it, because language is important. It's our identity. And I think that's what we're really wanting to show as well in our publications. And then last year we released the Special Frog, and this is for our level 1 learners that are kind of in that base of learning to read, break down sentences, as well as the language itself. They're all in English, and then the other ones were offered them in Mohawk, Cayuga, Tuscarora, Anishinaabe, and this year we've got Onondaga, Seneca, and Cree, and next year Oneida, and a few other languages. And we're working on audio right now for them, providing them with a CD as well as QR codes. So now we're going into getting things more, web-based, instead of just, because CDs are kind of like obsolete nowadays. Mm-hmm. But I know a lot of our older learners want those still. So we're going to continue that. And then our Judy Rubin books, I call them our Judy Rubin books because Judy Rubin is just an amazing curriculum writer for us. And she's contributed quite a bit to ONLC and Turtles Back Publishing. She did 3 cultural readers focusing on sustainable food system curriculum. These showcase Indigenous fishing game stories from Northern Ontario, community gardens in urban areas in Southern Ontario. And they're really cute, small readers. Again, probably for level 1, early level 2 learners. Then we go into Aquajilagoa, My Big Family. That one, like I said, was meant to be a small reader, turned into a 459-page book. This is my favorite. It's when I first started, I had just met the writers and they were giving me their text to review and edit. And just seeing how both of them at first were amazing writers, but just seeing them, how they developed themselves in their own writing was incredible. One was very cultural focused and one was very statistical. And it was just like putting it all together, like looking at this book, it's just like, wow, what an accomplishment for them and for ONLC and Turtlesback Publishing. And all the contributors, because they interviewed, I would say, 50 plus players all across Ontario, Canada, US, Europe, Indigenous, non-Indigenous players, children, elders, a bunch of lacrosse greats. And it's not just on what the game's about, it's what the game contributes to themselves and how it's helped them through the darkness of their life, their own successes, their academic scholarships, and their spirituality. Even the non-natives, listening to their stories about how the game itself is spiritual to them, and how they start to understand that it really is the creator's game, it really is the medicine game. That's a beautiful connection, and each story is different. I know when we were looking through it and trying to get it finished before 2020, it was like, okay, are we done? Like, I'm done reading about lacrosse, but you would go back to it and you would just hear someone else's story, and it was just beautiful. So it's in full color. It's a very big book. Mm-hmm. I don't have them here, but since everything's kind of opened back up again, we started doing marketing for that one and for the Judy In Memory of Feast. That one I'm going into. In Memory of Feast, like I said, interviews 20 different stories from residential school survivors. And one passed away last year, Judy Rubin's mother-in-law up north. And their stories are beautiful. It doesn't touch base into the darkness of what the residential schools might have been or have been. And it's more of a feel-good stories of like their memories of when they were children, the foods they ate, the foods that the way they prepared the foods with their parents, their grandparents, the hunting, the gathering, the fishing. And then when they entered residential schools, some of them talk about the foods that they were introduced to and how they couldn't eat some of the foods, and about the mush hole at the Mohawk Institute. And then they talk about when they returned home, how some of them couldn't go back to their traditional foods, how they all of a sudden wanted to stick to foods that had bad nutrition and foods that they were introduced to in the schools. And it's a cute book. It's small, but it's a really good read. And I would say that's probably for level 2 learners. And both of these books, so last year we submitted them into the Indie Book Awards, and the lacrosse book, Aquajilagoa, received an award, the winner of the 2021 Next Generation Indie Book Awards in the category of Mind, Body, and Spirit. And then In Memory of Feast was awarded a finalist as well under the category of Overcoming Tragedy and Adversity. And that was pretty amazing for us, and a great accomplishment for our writers too.
Fantastic.
Let me ask you, like, when you guys started the process to write those 2 books, how long does that take from start to finish? I guess it depends on the book and the writer.
That's the thing we're kind of struggling with, because each year we sit down and we talk about what projects we're going to do, and we figure out what our titles are going to be and who we might think about contracting, and we aim for within a year. And that's kind of hard because we're putting a lot of pressure on our writers. And the curriculum, I wouldn't say is easy, but it's a lot faster compared to these ones. it takes time. It took longer. The lacrosse book had a deadline of, I think it was like the first part of 2020 that it should have been done. And we pretty much stretched it because the editing, making sure we had all the right forms signed. And I think that kind of project would have taken more than 2 years, should have taken more than 2 years. So I think we did a pretty good job. In memory of Feast as well, it was only one writer and she did all the traveling herself. And she met with all the residential school survivors. And she did that, I would say, within a year and a half. So,
wow.
Yeah.
It's quite the process.
That
Yeah.
is fast too. Like
It
I
is.
have a friend that's a novelist, and like granted he's writing on his own time, but it still takes quite a bit of research if he's discussing certain topics and everything. And I don't think he's ever written a novel cover to cover in under a year.
I know it's the lacrosse book amazed me a lot more because each story, well, each article, I would say is about 1 to 2 pages or 2 to 3 pages, sometimes 6. And I put a lot of pressure on the boys. Our team really contacted them, like said, like, okay, you need to get in a draft. Okay, now you need to edit this. And there's a point where like, okay, forget editing, we'll edit and we'll make it. But they did a great job. And my proud moment was seeing the improvement in some of their writing. And it was just like, oh, this is great. And then they're just fresh out of university. And so I'm like, this is even great. And
I'm gonna have to get that one for my son. My son plays a lot of lacrosse. This is his last year of playing at school, but I'm gonna have to get him that. I think he'd really appreciate it.
it's got a lot of lacrosse people, a lot of
Yeah.
good, great lacrosse people, and there are a lot of people we missed. And I wish that we had room for all of them. But I think that if you're a lacrosse lover or just getting into the game, this is the book to just pick up. And it's not one you have to read front to back. It's one you pick up and read one article, put it down, and then pick it up again and flip anywhere and then read it. So
And that'd be good for my son because I don't think he likes reading a ton. But if it's short and to the point, I think he'd appreciate that.
that's awesome. And it's a lot of fun. I want to get more into those things. But quickly, I'm getting back into what we do have. Our ONLC resources and curriculum, we've got a lot of curriculum and resources that focus on our LBS programs and our practitioners. For the help of our practitioners, we've got the holistic approach and developing OALCF, the Ontario Adult Literacy Curriculum Framework, task-based activities for practitioners. And it's kind of a guide to help practitioners and new practitioners understand the task-based activities that are required. When a learner comes into the programs and they base them off of this framework, and they're either a level 1, level 2, level 3, and you want to get them at a level 3 where they're ready to go into university levels. Then we've got the assessment toolkit, and a lot of these are still in print, but we print them in office because they're not really a big demand. But I think I want to try and promote them a little bit more, especially in the next few years. We are working on digitizing a lot of these materials. Then we go into, my favorite is the Including Elders, a guide for Indigenous literacy programs. And this is more of a way to help programs outreach to their elders, or if they have elders in the program, how to work with them. There's task-based activities included in these kinds of curriculums, and it just gives the practitioner idea of what they can give them, how to structure their lessons, and how to kind of communicate them, make sure that the relationship is going well. And preparing for success is the same thing, but more for the younger adults and it just shows them that it's more than just education. It's more of like going into an LBS program is more than just getting your certificates or your degree. It's building a life, learning to get yourself ready for employability or just your own personal life, getting your day-to-day tasks done.
Wow, I am really, really impressed by this because you have a pretty massive catalog for a publishing division that's only been running since 2019.
Well,
So well done on that. Like, I'm blown away.
well, a lot of these publications were done, well, these ones were mostly done in 2019. And a few of them, the older ones were done, I think, in 2017. So ONLC was publishing under Turtles Back before Turtles Back became official. And so they've been doing a lot of self-publication. And a lot of the smaller readers, like the Haudenosaunee, no, the mother-daughter sister readers were all mostly done by, I would say, summer students. So that's been a great help. And then a lot of the community language speakers too. So it's just I think it's just what's been helpful is all the contributors and the way they understand our mission.
It's
And
amazing, eh? When you ask for help, how many people actually step up and say, "Oh, yeah, I can help," or "No, I don't. I can't do it, but I know so and so. They might be able to help."
mhm, I
It's
love
pretty
that.
neat.
Yeah. And then when they see the final product, they're like, wow, I did that. um, and one of our popular books is the Financial Literacy Workbook. This was done in 2019 and by Maria Morrison. And I only spoke to her over the phone, but she worked with the previous publishing house that worked with ONLC in the past. And that one is a really good curriculum, especially for learners who are wanting to, who are kind of new to banking or new to money. And it shows them how to fill out invoices, how to fill out their own bank statements, how to balance their own checkbooks, to understand the small print in loans and opening a bank account and even borrowing money, not from banks, but from like pawn shops. And should you do it? And it gives you little scenarios of if you do this, this might happen, and kind of just understanding the importance of money and the responsibility of it. And then last year we got into, so this was kind of funny because right before COVID, we weren't, we were thinking like, okay, well, these publications will be great for in-person learning. And so we developed the Introduction to Digital Technology. And this is for level 1 learners who have never touched a computer and know nothing or just know the very basics of a computer. So this was like, when this came out, we're like, oh, great, how do we do this now? So we just put it out. And it's been getting some good feedback. And I think it'll be a great thing for when people come back to our programs, especially for our older learners, because it kind of introduces the computer, the mouse pad, how to create an account. Then it goes into email. Then we went into a second level book, Introduction to Digital Software, and that's more of sending emails, opening a bank account, social media, YouTubes, and it has little activities and lessons as well. Then we did a customer service training curriculum for learners wanting to get into any type of customer service. So it's got it's mostly for the practitioner, and the practitioner would look at the lesson. And I think the writer had some slides in there, and just to understand how to be as an employee and what to understand in any type of work environment. And I think that's also good. That goes, I think, in my opinion, would go good with the preparing for success. Then last year, GLA approached us, or no, we teamed up with GLA to do Indigenous Science, Technology, Engineering, Art, and Mathematics, the STEAM book, and the Let's Build a Sustainable Food System. And they developed it they digitized it in a ways. And I thought that was really important because these curriculums themselves are just good for science and math credits and kind of understanding Indigenous, the environmental aspect of being Indigenous and the academics of it. Then we did, then we had Judy Rubin again do a curriculum with the In Memory of Feast book. And she did a GED Language Arts Writing Study unit. And I think both the lacrosse book and the In Memory of Feast you can make any type of curriculum from those books. And so this is one of them, GED Language Arts. And I think this year I want to do some curriculum for the lacrosse book, and I'm looking at 10 different lessons from 10 different educators. So that's going to be fun looking for people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Amazing to expand on that. That's what an opportunity.
It can be either math, the physicality of the game, reading, the writing, everything. So I'm excited about that.
So I have a question for you now. So if you could call out to Indigenous writers out there to send in some works and fill out your catalog, what kind of gaps would you be looking to fill?
I am looking for Indigenous playwriters.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I want to do something in that. We're getting a graphic novel done. The art's being worked on right now, so I want to do more on that. Graphic novels too, in my opinion, are important because, like, for example, my grandfather didn't speak English, and he had to leave school, I think, when he was 15, and he only spoke Keris, and he learned English from reading comic strips. And I've heard that from a lot of people, a lot of language people, that they learn better from comic books or from graphic novels. And so I think that's really important, and I want to keep doing that, especially for our early learners.
Yeah, I'm a really, really big fan of comics and graphic novels, and I think that their utility is really, really underappreciated because we grow up learning to first read with picture books, and those pictures sort of aid our comprehension and our situational awareness and things like that. And it sort of makes reading comprehension materialize. And graphic novels are really, really great because they give you sort of more. They give you a visualization for it. For somebody who doesn't have a strong grasp on the language it may be written in, it offers you that contextual comprehension and so forth. So I've long been a big enthusiast of graphic novels. And a friend of mine who worked at an Indigenous school up in a northern community, she was up in Martin Falls a few years ago. She found that she had the most success with her fifth graders, getting them to read when she was introducing graphic novels. So I'm really, really pleased to hear that you guys are going to be doing that and incorporating Indigenous writers and artists into that. I'm really, really excited to see those coming.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited. I had just seen some of the work. I read through the draft of everything, and I was like, oh, I can already see it. I can already see what's going on. And then the artist sent me a picture of the character, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is perfect. And it was just one picture, and I'm like, I want more. And I think that that's something we're really going into. I am inviting more material, maybe poetry, lyrics, and even memoirs, anything that's more. But the other thing is anything that's focused towards the adult audience, because again, our mandate. And I think that's what's been pulling a lot of people back, because I do get a lot people questioning what we would publish, and a lot of them have children's books, and I really wish we could do that, but I am looking at some children's books that could be level 1 learners or could be language books, but again, it's just making sure that we're not publishing things that our adult audience would say like, oh, this is too childish, I don't want to read it, because they might, they're not going to be attracted to it, and we want them to pick it up and to get into it.
Well, I'm going to do a bit of shameless self-promotion here for Good Learning Anywhere. If you ever need some inspiration and you want to get a hold of some inspirational figures, I would recommend that you keep an eye out for the invitations for our sharing circles, because we've had some incredible guests with some very, very inspiring stories. And we've got one coming up that I'm really, really excited about. And they're usually pretty open about people reaching out to them, to help them promote and get their work out there. And who knows, you may come across somebody that's got something you never thought of before, or something that was exactly what you're looking for. And for those of you who are waiting on our next sharing circle. That's actually going to be June 6th with our special guest, Classic Roots. And he incorporates his Anishinaabe culture and tradition into techno music and dances in full regalia while he does online concerts from his apartment. It's pretty amazing. He's getting out there a little bit more now that COVID has relaxed and he can resume tours, but it's beautiful and amazing. And the music is great and everything. And he's got a story to tell. So anybody out there listening, definitely check us out. Follow our Facebook page for that. But getting back on topic here, if an Indigenous writer wished to submit a work for publication, how would they do that?
Okay, they would either contact me. Well, no, they would contact me. Just send me an email. Just your questions. If you want to include a manuscript or a piece of something, I would prefer it in Word or in PDF. Just a little background of what you're writing, what you're attempting, what's your audience, your goal audience, your genre, and maybe even your idea of marketing. There is a submission guidelines on our website. Our website is under construction. You can still go in there. You can still look at the Turtles Back Publishing site, but we are revamping it, and I'm not too sure when that will launch. But on our website, there's a submissions page, which gives you all the guidelines of what you would need, or gives you a background of what we are, what we're looking for, and how you would submit. But that's just the easiest way, is just send me an email.
Fantastic. So for the interested listeners who may be out there, what is your email?
Oh, yeah. It's all caps TBP _lowercase manager @onlc.ca. Or you can contact us at our office, 519-445-1539.
Fantastic. Okay. And we talked about the website and so forth. How do people contact you to purchase books?
Call us at our office, go to our website. We do take online orders. We do take email orders. If you are a program, you do get a discount. If you are an ONLC member program, if you are an ONLC program or a member, you do get a discount. I think Rhonda, our executive officer here, she sent out mail or something last month with the coupon code. So if you got that, use it, because only 2 people used it last year, and we were so excited that we could make that. So use it. And if you don't go online, you can call us and let us know your program, and we'll automatically give you that discount. And if you're also an educational institution, well, you can just call me with the PO form, and yeah. Oh, wow. We're also working with Good Minds, and so they distribute some of our books. So that's another place.
Awesome. So what is your website?
Oh, it's www.onlc.ca.
Great. And they can just kind of scroll through there and find Turtles Back then.
Yeah, it's a bear website. And our catalog on the website is a little unorganized, so you'll have to just skim through, and there's a little brief on what each book is about.
We'll definitely have to check that out.
All right. So this is the point in the podcast where we get to our final thought. So is there anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to kind of throw out there?
I like ideas. So my mind is constantly going. So you were talking about your next sharing circle and talking about the, I'm sorry, what was his name?
Classic Roots.
Yes, Classic Roots. My mind was like, oh, that's perfect, because we were just talking about how we wanted to do something on a collection of stories of young Indigenous people who went out and, their success stories on entrepreneurship. We've got a lot of people that are developing their own businesses. We've got an MTS printers in 6 Nations, and they're a small owned business. There's a lot of food trucks that are Indigenous owned. You've got DJs. It's just beautiful to see our Indigenous people make something happen, and we want our younger people and our other learners to see that and to say like, oh, I could actually create myself like this. I could do something like this. Get inspired. So my mind's always going, and I always want ideas. If you have a curriculum idea, a resource idea, language resource idea, I'm always open to those.
Amazing. Warren, any final thoughts from you?
No, I actually had one question for you. I guess when it comes to marketing your materials, are you guys using any social media at all? And the only reason I'm asking is because I'm new to TikTok. I just started checking this out, and I guess I was flipping through and I came across someone, and this gentleman was sharing Indigenous stories with a lesson, and it just kind of caught me. And I was listening. I was like, wow, that was really good. I'd listen to the next one. And then I was thinking about you guys. I was like, wow, that would be great. Like you could share an excerpt out of one of the books, or a story, or just kind of something to kind of grab people and get their attention. So I was curious, do you guys use any social media like TikTok or anything?
That's a really good idea. No, we don't use TikTok. We're a very small team.
Yeah.
And we do have Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And that's about it. We do have a YouTube channel. You have to just type in Ontario Native Literacy Coalition, and there you can check out some of the interviews with the lacrosse players from our book, and I think there's a video on the release, so you get to listen to both of the writers talk about the book, and then there's our webinars from ONLC, and that's pretty much all we have right now. But I do like your TikTok idea. I have seen some of those, and it's just like writing those little notes down, like, oh, we should do this, but wait, do I have time?
I know. You have to go have your list of priorities, and it's a process.
Yeah.
Yeah, Indigenous TikTok is something else though. There is some really, really amazing content on there. There's a lot of Indigenous word of the days from various dialects and so forth. There's artists who are sharing their art and talking about the tradition of their art. There are people who are sharing and talking about their food. Quite a bit of comedy too. I really, really love Indigenous TikTok. That's pretty much my entire For You page. That and recipes.
Oh yeah, love the TikTok recipes.
They're so good.
I did want to add quickly, back to the language curriculums. This year we are releasing the Cayuga language for the absolute beginners, just like the Mohawk ones that GLA helped us pilot, and also Oneida language. So look out for those. And I think we want to do a pilot for those two languages, and I think a second level Mohawk. So I'm excited about those ones. I just finished reading the Cayuga curriculum the other night, and like, oh, this is good. I couldn't pronounce anything, but I'm like, this is good.
Awesome. Alexandra, thank you so much for being here, and thanks for working this out with us on short notice and everything. It was a real pleasure to have you here, and I'm super excited about Turtles Back. I'm definitely going to go and pick up that Memory of Feast book, and I'm really, really excited to skim through the rest of the catalog and see if there's anything else that we can pick up. And I'm really, really excited to start recommending some of your titles to other practitioners and colleagues and so forth that we run across too.
Oh, there's a lot more. I didn't talk about our math books. Just look at them. We just have a lot. It's just amazing what, looking at all of it, and I'm like, geez, in 3 years, in 3+ years, we've been doing all of this. Like, yay, Turtles Back. And it's scary to think about 5 years, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh.
Yeah, I am really, really excited to see you guys keep on growing and growing. And I'll be sure to fire you an email with some recommendations for people that I think that you should reach out to as well.
Great. Thank you so much. I would appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. So that's about it for us today. Thank you everybody for listening once again. Good Learning Anywhere does have a number of different things coming up. Our spring registration is open and we have some exciting opportunities for some online courses that you can take in our live as well as our independent platforms. So if you're interested in finding out more about those, you can go to goodlearninganywhere.com/courses to see our complete catalog, and goodlearninganywhere.com/register to sign up for those classes. So if you have any questions or feedback about anything you've heard today, or if you want to suggest a topic to us in the future, you can reach out to Warren and I at diane@shlc.ca. That's DIANE@shlc.ca. And remember to like and follow us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/goodlearninganywhere, and keep an eye out for news of our upcoming events. As we said, we're really, really excited to welcome Classic Roots to our sharing circle on June 6th at 10:30 a.m. You do not need to register with Good Learning Anywhere to attend that. Just keep an eye out for our Zoom link on that page. Warren, anything else to add?
No, this was great. No, I really appreciate Alexandra coming on the show, and yeah, just a ton of information. And even though you're a small organization right now, it's you guys are growing and going in the right direction. And yeah, we'll have to see where things are in the next year or so, and maybe get you back on the show.
Yeah, it would be really great to have you back in the future and just see how far you've come.
That would be fun. Thank you.
It would be. Thank you. Thank you once again, Alexandra. Great to see you as always, Warren. And thank you everybody for listening. We will catch you again in about another month.